So these are some other details. Yesterday we talked about this committee, and basically CAG submits 3 types of reports: an audit report on appropriation account, finance account, and PSUs. And that appropriation account is related to expenditure, finance account is income side, that is basically budget, and it is audited by, means every year CAG will submit those 2 such audit reports, and third is related to PSUs. Since there is a separate committee on PSUs, so it will scrutinize this audit report, but first 2 reports are scrutinized by Public Account Committee, and it's its main role. So this composition is a basic thing, you may be aware. As a healthy convention, this chairperson should belong to the opposition party. Its way of functioning, so you see now that it can scrutinize, it does not scrutinize all the reports because CAG submits so many reports. It can decide to scrutinize the number of reports, and it determines its agenda in that it can take help of CAG while scrutinizing whenever it feels that it needs some clarity, and CAG should explain those aspects, so it can take help of CAG. CAG is like friend, philosopher, guide, we told yesterday, can summon anyone except Prime Minister, it can summon anyone, and even ministers, RBI governor also, regulatory body heads, any functionary it can summon, and it can seek any report, any information from the government if it needs that case. Those information and reports are important. So these are some basic aspects related to committee. Now let's approach. So it scrutinizes reports from the perspective of wisdom of expenditure. In terms of threes, in terms of waste, loss, extravagance, irregularities, etc. Means whether there is application of wisdom. This. So whether the executive has applied its wisdom in case of spending money most important concern is expenditure, spending money. Income side is less important, because income side is, so they can see this, but expenditure side is more important in terms of utilization of fund, whether funds have been properly utilized, wisdom has been applied, mind has been applied, there is economy, efficiency, effectiveness. So it will look from those perspective, whether there is any loss to the exchequer of the government, waste, or exorbitantly, let's say, funds have been utilized. So it will look into also this perspective. CAG also looks into that perspective, but again, Public Account Committee will also have its own perspective. On the basis of that, it recommends. So then recommendations. Recommendations. But before we recommend, here one more point you can add in this way of functioning, because these are important points that already we have told that the members take decision purely on merit basis. And remain apolitical. Remain apolitical. Then we can say recommendations. So let's try that. In recommendations, it highlights waste, loss, any malpractice, and it recommends for taking necessary actions. Next, it highlights the areas of concerns. And it can even suggest alternatives. How to improve in future. Next, on the basis of its recommendations, it is expected that in future necessary steps will be taken. Then outcome of recommendation. It is expected that the recommendations would result into debate and discussion. And questioning government in the respective houses. It is also expected that government should bring action taken report. That what are the recommendations? it has accepted. Let's say working of Public Account Committee. Working of Public Account Committee. India has completed 70 years of its adoption of Constitution and 17th Lok Sabha. Hence there is a long duration of working of parliamentary system. On the basis of that, the strengths and weaknesses of committee have become more clear. And also its significance. In general, it faces following criticisms. In general, it has following criticisms and weaknesses. That first, it lacks penal powers. That power to punish. It can only recommend. Second, recommendations are not also binding. Next, it cannot question the policy matters of the government. Next, it does post-mortem. It means the traditional weaknesses are lack of penal power, recommendatory, cannot question policy matters, and post-mortem in nature. This is a way to write one point in that 4 points. Just I told so that you should learn it, because so many points we have to write, but people will write these 4 points as if they have written 4 pages. So these are conventional weaknesses. If you remember classical theory weaknesses, we told some 3 common weaknesses: closed system, mechanical, formal, and ignores dynamics of human behavior. So that can be written in 1 point also. So no need to write sentence, it is, no need to write. Directly you can write penal power, lacks penal power, post-mortem in nature, recommendatory, and cannot question policy matters. So these are, let's say, traditional things, but it is not supposed to be. Anyhow, yesterday we told that binding recommendation need not be binding. It should not have penal power. We have judiciary for that, and question policy matter, because executive is given prerogative in policy matters. It can suggest alternative policy, but it cannot question why you have farm bill or why you have Atmanirbhar Bharat. Questioning policy means like this. So generally committees are not given such powers to question policies of the government, and Then post-mortem in nature, that so post-mortem that results into delay. So generally audit is a post factor ना, पहले वो पैसा खर्च कर लिया, फिर बोल के क्या करेंगे, isn't it? Parents क्या करेंगे पैसा जब खर्च हो गया तो. So it cannot be, let's say, changed. The money is spent. अब आपको जो भौंकना है भौंकते रहो. Sorry to say that. Means it can, let's say that, कि bark but cannot bite. Same thing is about CAG. It can bark but it cannot bite. So it is like money has already been spent. Then you are doing audit. This is how it is considered post-mortem, right? So this, it is like, it is considered flogging a dead horse. This, so post-mortem work is also like flogging a dead horse. So it is a very sharp criticism of this. So that way you can consider that okay, post-mortem will teach when will take CAG. So there it is, means you will understand public account committee better when CAG is taught, because then you know about audit and strength and weaknesses of audit and what should be done. Anyhow, the next point is delay. There is delay in audit reports. There is scrutinies and further recommendation. Further recommendations. So just why we say that कि by the time party is no more, by the time government is no more, तो हो सकता है कि कैग अभी भी किसका अकाउंट ऑडिट कर रहा होगा, यूएपीए मीन्स यूपीए गवर्नमेंट. नाउ यू हैव बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट. जब बीजेपी का स्टार्ट होगा तो पता चलेगा कि यू हैव एनपीए गवर्नमेंट. सो द क्वेश्चन इज दैट, राइट, inordinate delays you have, as we told that. So there are so much delay, like let's say a regular audit it does of administrative expenditure. The CAG does administrative expenditure because annual budget you have. The annual budget that when we have, so that annual aspect of budget is every year is, let's say, audited. But then there are schemes and programs, like say you have urban scheme. When it will be audited, so when scheme is completed. This, so it will be audited, let's say. So that is how you'll find that there will be huge delay in terms of first CAG itself. There is a delay at CAG level itself. And once it is, let's say, submitting the report, then there is delay further at public account committee level. This, and delay means out of sight, out of mind. So hardly it will have any effect, let's say, when there is such delay. That's why it is said that you have to enhance the efficiency of every institution. Means the public account committee, CAG, should also be a very efficient institution. Anyhow, so this we can say. Next.
So CAG is also an independent functionary. Why do we need then public accounts committee?
How Parliament can exercise control on executive in financial matters. I guess.
So can't they go with CAG report itself?
Can't
they go with CAG report, like they can go directly with that?
Yes. So who will go directly? Government.
The Parliament can take that.
The public account committee is not needed.
So I'm asking why is it
Yes,
needed?
yes.
CAG is also
Means
independent.
you are saying it is not needed. Means why it is needed? When
So what are the differences that it has? Like over CAG?
yes, the differences, it is called democratic accountability. Now let me give that framework which I could have given somewhere else. Or we have this, let's Parliament, then public account committee. See, Parliament upholds accountability of executive. This. But how it will uphold accountability of executive? Yesterday we told that committees are think tank. So committees are like think tank to Parliament. Then Parliament can have effective control on executive with the help of committees, because committees can highlight, as we told that, committees can highlight the concerns, areas of concerns, and what we should look after. Now the question is, CAG has already highlighted, so why we should have a parliamentary committee on that. So you should know that CAG. So CAG in any country, let's say including India, it is an auditor. And this institution can have expertise, but it is a non-representative institution. It is led by, let's say, professionals, you can say bureaucrats. So it is a non-representative institution. So when it is a non-representative institution, for democratic concept of democratic accountability, it should not be the CAG, rather it is the Parliament which should have a say on that. That will result into exercising control on this also. It will exercise control on that also in terms of, let's say, its report is further scrutinized. It will itself become an accountable institution. Second thing is that the CAG is not a representative institution, so it is the politics which should take the call on this something rather than administration. That concept you have to understand. It is the politics, it is the Parliament which represents the will. It represents the will, so it should have a final say on anything if it has told something. If it says something, let's say it has told something like X. So whether it is X is like X, that will be decided by Parliament. And that will bring this control, effective control on executive. So I don't know whether still you understand, means all people, what we are saying. Yesterday we told that, see, you have to understand that a democracy or any democratic state or any state has a system. That system has been created, and that system you cannot question. You can question software of a company, you can question one scheme. Right? You cannot question system of governance. इसलिए कि उसको लाने के लिए बहुत सारा पापड़ बेलना पड़ा है कई सालों तक, एक साल नहीं, राइट, बहुत सालों तक, और बहुत सारा उसके पीछे मंथन जिसको बोलते हैं ना, चर्निंग होता है, राइट. That lots of churnings have happened, since we don't have to go in details of all, but what you have got is system of government or system of governance. So it is, let's say, it has evolved by, let's say, that 100, 200, 300, 400 years. And then a system has come, and that system you cannot question कि नो ये ऐसा नहीं है वैसा, ये कोई कंप्यूटर का सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं है. It is a system of governance that why it should be. So you create checks and balances. That is called checks and balances. And CAG alone we will deal when we will take CAG. Perhaps there I will be able to explain, because already I have given some macro things. Today I just want to go and talk committees. But the macro things will be that when we will take CAG, so there I will explain how it is. So it is not the CAG. If there is no any scrutiny further of CAG, so then it may mislead Parliament. This and this way it may mislead Parliament. This is how. Why now CAG is appointed by? CAG is appointed by government, even if it is independent. सारे जो सर्व करने वाले हैं सारे सिविल सर्वेंट हैं, right? So civil servant led by IAS, they belong to executive. Even if it is independent, not an executive institution under parliament, but it is the executive which operationalizes CAG. So if you do not give that kind of mechanism system, you do not bring. So there are possibilities that CAG may not behave accountably, and then let's say that it may end up saying what executive says. You know what will happen to parliament. Second thing is there should be multi layers of checks and balances. This we have to understand. Problem will not be that there are multi layers. Problem is that they should work. If they do not work, so you should not question multi layers, rather you should enhance their efficiency. This. So you cannot question the system if system is creating delay, rather you make the system efficient. This, but लोगों को चूंकि ये पूरा सिस्टम नहीं समझ में आता है, तो लोगों को बेवकूफ बनाना बहुत ही आसान है कि ये सारे जो भी चेक्स एंड बैलेंस है इससे डिले होता है, हमें तो बहुत ही स्पीडी डिसीजन लेना है. And therefore all these things are disrespected. So that perception creating is, let's say that, let me tell, हमारे यहाँ का वैसे वो 3 idiot टाइप का नहीं है, 2.5 crore और 200 right, 2500 crore, बट ऐसा ही कुछ हिसाब किताब है. इंडिया का जो बजट है पार्लियामेंट का वो 0.0029 है. % of GDP or % of budget, whatever budget. This I'm funnily remembering, but this is how. Means, and yeah, let's say that कि be moderate हो सकता है ये इतना है, but ये ऐसा ही कुछ है. इंडिया के बजट है पार्लियामेंट का, बट ये चीज़ यूएस में इतना है. मतलब जो डिजिट हमारे यहाँ आता है वो वहाँ पे ऐसे आता है. Since I have taught in ED 3 years back such topic, different types of newspaper वाले लिखते रहते हैं, तो GS में आपको पढ़ना पड़ता है, isn't it? So that is how it is. So parliament का बजट कितना है, right? तो उसके स्टाफ, ये तो अगर सेपरेट इशू है, लास्ट में हम वी विल टॉक व्हेन विल टॉक वर्किंग ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. So basically you have to understand this is also related. If you think there is delay, so delay is also happening because budget is very less. Parliament के ऊपर फोकस ही नहीं है. This anyhow, parliamentarians, each and every parliamentarian should have one office staff, its research team, so that the MP is fully informed person. That is done in Western countries. ये नहीं कि चाणक्यपुरी में बंगलो दे दो and then let's say that feudal system and he has just come in Delhi to enjoy, right? फिर कभी मौका मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. So lunch का टाइम कल तो हमने बताया नहीं. lunch में वो then they will go in Ashoka hotel, they will eat like anything. उसके बाद lunch के बाद कौन parliament business attend करता है? Half of the members will be taking nap. Anyhow, so lots of laughable stories we can have. So this is what you will find. Each यहाँ पे तो acceptance ही नहीं होगा. अगर if you talk that कि each member of parliament should get separate budgetary allocation and staff, acceptance ही नहीं होगा. This. So that will talk in when we'll take simultaneous holding of elections. After or how you criticize MP, but what you give to MP. सो वो पुलिस वाला स्टोरी है कि सिंस पुलिस टेक ब्राइब्स डोंट गिव सैलरी. Since parliamentarians already they are all blah blah, let's say that, so then give them salary. This is how our democracy we have. Anyhow, let's come to our point. So I guess it is clear. No. Delay.
Can we say this double check mechanism is more for financial matters? Like you told that UPSC report is directly tabled in the parliament.
No, it will go to president, then it is tabled in the parliament. It is the ministry which, let's say, Ministry of Personnel, which is responsible to table the report in parliament through president. This. So
Can we say this double check mechanism is mainly for financial aspect?
No, now let me say that ki for not for financial matter, for all, let's say public account committees for audit report. So we'll take departmental related standing committees. So they scrutinize annual reports. So for all affairs of the executive, we have committees in parliament. This. So that way we should understand. Let's write next. So delay part we have done. Let's write next part, that government and civil servants adopt negative attitude. Generally, they do not share information, do not attend meetings, on summons, which further result into delay. One traditional weakness was government often replied in past, file was missing. Government often replied in past, file was missing. जब when there was a file culture, अब तो मान लो ICT culture, artificial intelligence. So that is not a major weakness, but summons they do not attend. Generally bureaucrats reply that they are busy with government work, so they don't have time. Next, within that, when civil servants, yes.
Can it summon the PM?
No.
Yes.
We have told in beginning, ministers and civil servants, not Prime Minister. So, on Prime Minister, there is lack of clarity. So, don't think that ये prelims में question आने वाला है. जहाँ पे controversy होता है, UPSC is very clear body, it does not ask controversial questions. Right. So, we'll deal in joint parliamentary committee. Let's write further. When civil servants attend meetings, they defend government decisions. Next, government also in action taken report. Replies like, first, the recommendations accepted. Second, the recommendations rejected and why. And third, a committee has been set up to look into the recommendations. So this is how you'll find that committees are. This is Gulick has sharply criticized committee system because they are nothing but act of delay by executive. So पहले तो कैग ने स्क्रूटिनाइज किया, फिर पब्लिक अकाउंट कमेटी ने स्क्रूटिनाइज किया, फिर से एक कमेटी सेटअप कर किया गया, राइट, टू स्क्रूटिनाइज. That is what you find. So you can imagine that at least 3 tenures of the government can be completed by that. So this, right, let's write next.
So the committee that is set up after that is by executive or parliament?
Yes, executive. It is executive which will set up committee. जिस तरह से आर्म फोर्सेस स्पेशल पावर एक्ट के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने कमिटी सेटअप किया है, विद इन 45 days इट विल गिव रिपोर्ट. 45 days के बाद कुछ न कुछ, सॉरी टू से दैट, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, बट कुछ और इंसिडेंट हो जाएगा, फिर फोकस विल बी ड्रॉन ऑन दैट. एनी हाउ, हो सकता है कि गवर्नमेंट इज डिटर्मिन, इट कैन चेंज ऑल्सो. So government gives both types of hopes. Right. So this we can say. Let's write next. Arrest of this, not able to understand. He has been arrested. PM सिक्योरिटी कैसे चल रहा है, राइट. मतलब कुछ ना कुछ चलते रहना चाहिए. दिस इज हाउ इट इज. दैट इज हाउ आई से द लॉलीपॉप. सो लोगों को कुछ ना कुछ मिलते रहना चाहिए. जैसे बच्चे को मुंह में लॉलीपॉप रखो ताकि वो मम्मी को परेशान ना करे. So, लोगों को कुछ ना कुछ लॉलीपॉप देते रहो ताकि वो गवर्नमेंट को परेशान न करे. राइट. सोसाइटी. और अभी चल रहा होगा पूरे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे, सबसे बड़ा डिबेट यही होगा. राइट. अननेसेसरी मैटर debated in society. Anyhow, so let's write next. Although it is a matter of shame in such a big democracy, the security of Prime Minister is taken in such a matter, such a way. ये मिस्टेक भी नहीं होना चाहिए. कुछ ऐसी चीज है जहां पे एरर्स माफ नहीं किया जा सकता. He is a Prime Minister, irrespective of who the person is. Right. He is the Prime Minister. And you cannot make मजाक of Prime Minister security. Right. आप उनका मजाक पर्सनली उड़ा सकते हैं, वो अलग बात है, but you cannot have the security. Anyhow, let's write next point. In recent times, there are some other weaknesses. First, there is diminishing in functioning of Parliament. And decline in quality of debate and discussion. Next, committees are becoming partisan and politicized. Like on 2G scam, its chairman, Murli Manohar Joshi, out of frustration, resigned. He resigned as its report on 2G scam was rejected by the speaker. Change paragraph. That is, even if the committee has its inherent limitations due to being recommendatory in nature, but it gets further weakened by other factors, including diminishing role of Parliament, quality of debate and discussion, and increased politicization. But still, let's say that, still on the basis of working experiences, the committee has following significance. First, its functioning itself is a manifestation of functioning of a healthy parliamentary democracy. With checks and balances. Next, it strengthens democratic accountability in the field of financial administration. That it is not only a tool of exercising expenditure control on the executive, but also upholding its financial accountability. Next, even if CAG is a specialized institution for audit, but the role of Public Account Committee strengthens democratic functioning of state in terms of giving primacy to politics over administration. That it is the Parliament which should have final say. On audit reports rather than CAG itself. Next, the committee has also in past recommended important reforms. Reforms like separation of audit from account, which was done in 1978. Sorry, 1976. On demonetization, it summoned RBI governor. On demonetization, it summoned RBI governor and asked a list of 10 questions which resulted into sweating by RBI governor. Don't write. Anyhow, so it can summon, let's say, that kind of functionaries. So it does have significance, as we are saying. Let's try that. The means what we are saying is, although it's very difficult to count, it is not that how many reforms have been taken, how many things have been suggested, but it's more about, let's say, that healthy functioning of parliamentary democracy, checks and balances, layers of, let's say, control, politics having primacy over administration. Parliament will have a final say on that, not the CAG, which is even if export institution, but it is a bureaucratic institution. So these are all, let's say, that things that you should write while writing. And yes, it's summoned when demonetization happened. So RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan was summoned. I think yes, Urjit Patel was that time, I guess. Yes, Urjit Patel was that time, and this will find that he was given list of 10 questions. True story it is, and very difficult questions. First question was that कि ऐसा क्या emergency था कि demonetization, government went for demonetization. ऐसा economic emergency बताइए क्या था. Right. And second question was कि were you prepared already that in evening the government will send you this report and in morning you will give signature, right, for demonetization, because there is 1 day gap in communication between government and RBI. So they had, so if basically, let's say, Manmohan Singh had remained governor, so he told him ki, take your time, you are not supposed to answer every question. Anyhow, so these are some interesting stories, right? अगर ये US होता और UK होता तो RBI governor could have been summoned in the house itself, in the Lok Sabha itself, and then the entire nation will see this. Anyhow, so these are some of the things, let's say, further let's according to PRS report, according to PRS report on effectiveness of parliamentary committees, it has been recommended that 40 to 45% average recommendations have been accepted. 40 to 45% average recommendations have been accepted by the government, and in some cases 90% of recommendations. Hence, PRS recommends not a very, hence PRS recommendations show that not a very bad picture of functioning of parliamentary committees. However, there are recommendations to reform committees. Including by National Commission to review the working of Constitution. Such reforms are relevant for all other committees all other committees. First, the members' tenure should be long term. Long term, it can be 4 to 5 years. 4 to 5 years. Next, the committee should be empowered. The committees should be empowered to take help of experts. Take help of experts on contractual basis. Contractual basis. Major committees like Public Account Committee. Major committees like Public Account Committee should get independent secretariat, independent dedicated secretariat. Next, PRS has recommended a matrix system. Matrix system of performance standards. Performance standards. That how many recommendations they make, how many recommendations accepted, and why recommendations not accepted. Why recommendations not accepted? They should be linked with parameters of performance of each house. Performance of each house. सिर्फ परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल सिविल सर्वेंट का क्यों होना चाहिए और बच्चों का सिर्फ रिपोर्ट कार्ड क्यों होना चाहिए? जो बिगेस्ट हाउस है उसका कोई रिपोर्ट कार्ड नहीं है. मतलब हर कुछ सारा आपने एडवांसमेंट लगाया है दूसरों के लिए, कंडीशंस दूसरों के लिए, अपने लिए कंप्लीट फ्रीडम. So basically it is a good idea, you should know that matrix, let's say individual member का भी matrix होना चाहिए कि एक member जो है एक साल में कितना question पूछता है, कितने बार attend करता है, the working, let's say that what he does, let's say, so इससे पता चलेगा. then उस member का performance evaluation होना चाहिए. एंड देन एंटायर हाउस परफॉर्मेंस इवेल्युएशन होना चाहिए. उससे दिस कमिटीज का लिंक होना चाहिए. दिस इज कॉल्ड ए मैट्रिक्स सिस्टम रिकमेंडेड बेंच मार्किंग सिस्टम. सो दैट विल क्रिएट ए काइंड ऑफ, अगेन लेट्स से दैट कि चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस. दिस लेट्स next point, let's say the budget for parliament should be increased. The budget for parliament should be increased so that parliament gives adequate budgetary allocations to committees, their secretariats, and they can have adequate research staff. Adequate research staff. Change the paragraph. That is committees' effective functioning. Committees' effective functioning depend on further deepening of democracy, re-strengthening process and mechanisms including committee system. Committee system. In case of public account committee, its significance lies in the fact that government has gone for financial management reforms. And there are changes in terms of globalization, competition, public-private partnership, greater need for transparency, accountability. In this context, public account committee role assumes special significance for upholding the financial accountability of the government and working as conscience keeper. So that is what you can find, and this is what about. We can say, so this is what one committee. Now you can decide that you have to write 150 words, so what you should leave, what you should write. This.
You said that the report on 2G scam was rejected by the speaker. Sir, why the report was rejected?
Political factors.
Means report was biased.
Yes. We'll deal at this point or that point that key how it was, and you'll find that key how it happens. So basically, if you take in terms of what we say, government speaker role and 2G scam, so it is the committee which, if it has given a report, so it is the house which should decide. A speaker is not supposed to reject the report, accept the report. It is the house which should decide. So speaker role was criticized that she is biased. Meera Kumar was speaker that time. So generally speakers are aligned to the political party. They don't have Maulankar type of, let's say that, stature. So this is what problem we can face in our society, and that's why speaker question was also asked. Anyhow, so that's why let's say that it is criticized. No audio, is it problem?
It's okay, sir. It is there.
It's fine, sir.
Right. People are writing no audio, means private message. So this is a format, let's say, what we have told, and the format, let's say, yes, it will be a bit challenging, so you can cut down some of the information, and you have to decide what should be cut down. So we have told about the basic things told about that. Then it reports simply, instead of writing these details, directly you can write that CAG main, Public Account Committee main role is to scrutinize the audit reports of CAG, such as appropriation account and finance account. No need to write सारा story, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. Then you can skip the membership, it hardly matters. You can say it has 22 members and chairman is as a healthy convention from opposition party. Here let's say that you can again make it short and no need to write everything. So these are the details. Simply it can be. It has not scrutinized all reports, and while scrutinizing can summon members including civil servants and ministers and it takes decision purely on the basis of merit. Then we have told, yes, this approach is very important to write that. It again detail not, it scrutinizes the CAG audit reports from the wisdom perspective, that whether wisdom has been applied while utilizing the funds, and it will highlight those irregularities and malpractices, inefficiency, and will recommend to the government for taking action. And government is supposed to bring action taken report. So you have to learn, you can practice how to write in that, we can say 150 words, and still not missing the important aspect, this, and further what we are saying. Because we find that highly irritated answer people write in which there is nothing, let's say that, ki substance. कोई substance ही नहीं होता है. So they keep writing those very mechanical things, hardly any important aspect they refer. We have tried to link with, since we will teach CAG, so then you will understand in hindsight better. So that's why we are not trying to talk all these things. Parliament also will have to teach. But the question is that things have been changing. When things have been changing, financial management reforms, you know how government is so much concerned about FRBM Act, fiscal consolidation, and revenue generation, GST reforms. So कोई independent person भी तो होना चाहिए ना. There should be an independent institution which could scrutinize also कि whether it is only promises or something happening also. So CAG role is also challenging. Its role is also getting challenged. When its role is getting challenged, the role of Parliament also, you know that it becomes more important in terms of in changing dynamics, how it can uphold financial accountability of the government. And finance is the oxygen of the system. It is very important. So financial administration, there we'll talk this. So this way, let's say that both means they should be concerned to generate finances. They should be concerned to optimally utilize finances. But there should be someone also who can check both, right, and say that this is right, this is wrong, and that in that sense it has its relevance. Let's take next. Estimates committee. In the end, we have told general things, so not applying to all means it will apply to all committees. So whichever the committee you write, those reforms will apply to all. Like you need tenure, long tenure, you need experts, you need to increase budgetary supports, you need to give independent secretariat. Major committees should have independent secretariat like estimates committee, public account committee, departmental related standing committees. They should get independent, they should have their own office, and they should get think tank, because they are the major committees. The major committees they are, so they need independent secretariat, not general Lok Sabha secretariat and Rajya Sabha secretariat. So that will enhance. And then metrics that we have written that it is very innovative recommendation by PRS. Metrics should be prepared, and there should be link with that metrics, because you are doing everywhere. You have we have called aspiration, we have this called aspirational district initiative. Government has 49 parameters, 49 different types of indicators. So that way, let's say that Parliament can also have, so it will create further checks and balances, and it will function properly. Anyhow, so these things can be written for other committees. Let's take estimates committee. It is also among the major committees of Parliament. Major committee of Parliament, and it is considered as a sort of mini Parliament, mini Lok Sabha, mini Parliament. Since its role is to scrutinize budget, its role is to scrutinize budget, It also plays important role in financial administration and upholding financial accountability of government. Upholding financial accountability of the government. It has also British legacy. It is also British legacy, like Public Account Committee. And after independence, it has been continued. It has been continued. Its composition. It has 30 members. 30 members derive only from Lok Sabha. Derive only from Lok Sabha. That's why it is also known as mini Lok Sabha. Its chairman is from ruling party. Its chairman is from ruling party. Members are appointed, selected on the basis of proportional representation. Proportional representation. And it and they take decision purely on the basis of merit. And hence the committee has apolitical nature. Committee has apolitical nature. It can also summon government functionaries, including civil servants, and seek information from the government. Seek information from the government. That's power and functions. Power and functions. Its main role is to scrutinize budget estimates throughout the year. Every year budget is passed. Once budget is formulated by the government, it is also sent to executive. It is also sent to the estimates committee. Since budget has several demands for grants, it scrutinizes 10 to 12 such demands for grants. In a year. And it recommends to government. It recommends to Parliament for further taking action by highlighting areas of concerns that how budget estimates can be improved. Its recommendations are not binding. binding. Although it has powers to also question government policies. Question government policies. But it lacks penal powers. Its approach and objectives. Its approach and objectives. Its main objective is to achieve three E's: efficiency, economy, and effectiveness in budget estimates. Next, to strengthen system of financial administration. So that government has effective resource mobilization. It goes on in-depth analysis of budget estimates. So, are you able to understand anything or nothing? Just I dictated. So, let me tell that आपको भी ऐसे याद होना चाहिए. मतलब it's something like कि कुछ तो ऐसी चीज़ें होना चाहिए जो बहुत ही बेसिक है, कन्वेंशनल है कि आपको इतना मीन्स इट यू रिमेंबर इन सच ए वे दैट कि यू कैन राइट योर ओन वे. उसको जैसे बोलते हैं ना, तोड़ मरोड़ करके लिखना या मोल्डिंग द कंटेंट द वे यू कैन लाइक. So that will bring organic aspect in your answer. So there are some topics वो हमेशा याद होना चाहिए. They are not, let's say, so complex like this. Like say कि once you know committee system, so you can write very easily that answers. Only some specific aspect of committees we have to know. Some points will remain common. Can seek information, can summon anyone, can give recommendation. So this government will have to bring action taken report. So way of functioning. So largely that's why common features also we have told. They will take decision purely on the basis of merit, apolitical in nature, proportional representation of membership. So work as think tank. So there are so many things common in the committees, although individually they are different, because their orientation is different. Now let's take what exactly it happens. So, Parliament, executive, it will present budget. The budget is presented to Parliament. This. Now budget has budget estimates. Basically it has budget estimates. So it is nothing but budget estimates, especially on expenditure side. Income side nahi. It will scrutinize the budget generally means also expenditure side. This. Because problem is at expenditure side. Income nahi. पैसा आ रहा है तो कौन रोकेगा? आने दो. Right. So problem is not at income level, right? Problem, so our financial administration, public administration, they are more concerned with expenditure side, less income side. So this you should know. So budget estimates are related to expenditure. Now those budget estimates are known as, there are over 112 demands for grants. Basically 112 demands for grants are 109 This is how we'll find 109 to 112 we have demands for grants. Demands for grants means for each section, means entire budget expenditure is divided into different demands for grants based on those classification of budget. So demands for grants, let's say, so this is how we'll find it. In that it will not scrutinize more than 10 to 12 in a year, because its approach is in-depth analysis. Now once budget is presented to Parliament, now you know that Parliament has 3 readings. Yesterday we told 3 readings, and then first reading, second reading, third reading. After first reading, it is sent to departmental related standing committees. So when budget is passed in the Parliament, so then it is scrutinized by departmental related standing committees. Budget will be scrutinized. That will tell after this estimates committee. Now at the same time, this budget estimates, which budget will be sent alternatively to estimates committee. Budget is introduced, then budget is also sent to estimates committee. Now since it goes for in-depth analysis, it is in-depth analysis, so it analyzes only 10 to 12 such demands for grants for a year, for 1 year. It will have in-depth analysis of that. Some parts of the budget estimates, it will have in-depth analysis. They do not have in-depth analysis. They will look into this कि yes, सब कुछ ठीक है, right? So at surface level, let's say that. So when you see that the surface level things are fine, so yes, let's present it. Or they can give some, means still it is in-depth analysis, let's say detail analysis. But if you compare between this and this, it has more in-depth analysis. This way you can, how it is, so let's take what it does. Why? Then again you can think that it is overlapping. Right. It is overlapping, and why it should be, but it has its own senses, right? Because यहाँ पे urgency है, budget pass करना है, right? So urgency है, तो then you don't get much time, because financial things, law making, financial matter, means any proposal going to the Parliament, it is highly technical, you should know that. And financial matters are also very technical. Law making itself is a very, let's say that, technical exercise. So that's why you have multi layers of system. And now this estimates committee. So then it will go and have in-depth analysis. Now आपको कैसे, how you will know what it scrutinizes, what it does. So let's take now budget estimates. Budget estimates are now let's take that कि गवर्नमेंट ने किसी भी एक बजट एस्टिमेट किया है X. Government has estimated any item, let's say any item, any object, that object estimate is X. X can be, let's say, we consider that the government has given 10,000 crore for any scheme. Let's say that, can say Fasal Bima Yojana. Let's take any scheme. Or it has given to, any expenditure related to any organization, administrative expenditure. Now, the question is that what is estimation? Do you think that the 10,000 crore is very close to actual expenditure? So, what is actual expenditure? The actual expenditure should be close to 10,000. 10,000 crore. So, let's say that it can be close to 9,000. It is like this. So, $9,000, 900 भी चलेगा. Or it can be, let's say, plus also this. So whether the expenditure is close to the actual expenditure or the expenditure is much more than actual expenditure. अब मान लो कि गवर्नमेंट का एक्चुअल एक्सपेंडिचर है 800 crore का, right? It is 800 crore. What I am saying, it is 10,000 crore, 8,000 crore. Right? This actual expenditure is 8,000 crore, but budget has sanctioned 10,000 crore. It means 2,000 crore we have given surplus. So 2,000 crore we have given surplus. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है अगर हमारे पास सरप्लस मनी है. But already you know that कि many sectors we have scarce money. Funds are not there. The first thing is that कि if we were able to have close estimate, so we could have 2,000 crores saved. Means we should have allocated to any other item, any other object. This is first. You know what that government will reply by the end of the year, that department? They will say they have saved 2,000 crore. So you can imagine. Now, if you are not noticing it, next year what you will give, ki further 10,000 crore plus you will allocate. Further. And then you know what will happen. So that may result into fiscal profligacy, fiscal malpractices जिसको बोलते हैं, fiscal populism you can say, right? So your financial system, financial administration will not be efficient. Right? And that is not only this. This is a very major aspect to tell what estimates committee does. The estimates committee will look very closely. They will have to. It's a very serious exercise that they will try to look into each and every such item of expenditure, and they will see that whether it is close to this, and if it is not close to this, so then they will give this alternative suggestions so that you improve next time. The next time you can improve. And do you know how serious problem it is? ARC second has recommended in its financial management reform report, 40 there are 40 such ministry and departments having such kind of practice. Ki they say their surplus as saving, but it is a poor estimation. So this way we can understand, and that is how, let's say that this role of estimates committee, it is a very serious role. So you cannot criticize that कि वो it is recommendatory, तो काग जैसा इसका एक्सपर्ट का साथ नहीं है तो नहीं है. Oh, we find meaningless point people, right? So answers are very, आजकल तो कुछ लोगों का तो it does not have help of काग कोई point होता है. So they write very short points and we don't know how to take it. Let's say it is meaningful answer or not. Anyhow, but this is what you should know, that you can draw it, you can tell it what exactly it does by giving one example. This can bring depth in the answer. So let's write this out further. Therefore, its role is to carry out in-depth scrutiny of budget estimates in terms of whether estimates are close to expenditure. Estimates are close to expenditure. Close to expenditure. Like the relationship between X and Y. Relationship between X and Y. X should be almost ideally equal to Y, and hence it can be considered budget estimates following three is. If X is more than Y, so it is not considered as an efficient budget making practice. Efficient budget making practice. And there can be financial mismanagement. But government has limited resources and it has to optimally utilize its resources. Hence, the role of estimates committee is different from that of departmental related standing committees. That is how I can say. Let's write weaknesses and criticisms. That first.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, that estimate committee reviews or scrutinizes the estimates of previous budget. Na?
Previous means कि जो अभी budget introduce होगा.
No, I mean the expenditure of the previous budget.
जो बजट मान लो फरवरी में आने वाला है, the budget which is going to be introduced in Feb, so that budget will be scrutinized by the estimates committee in 2022. No,
sir, the estimates will be of previous whole complete year, right?
Yes, गवर्नमेंट का एक्सपेंडिचर तो कमिंग ईयर का ही होगा ना, पास्ट ईयर का तो होगा नहीं. अभी इस फाइनेंशियल ईयर में गवर्नमेंट तो एक्सपेंड करेगी, राइट? तो इन हाइंडसाइट दे सी दैट वो एक्सपेंडिचर में तो चेंज होने वाला नहीं है. जो बजट एक बार प्रेजेंट कर दिया पार्लियामेंट में, तो पार्लियामेंट में इफ बजट इज प्रेजेंटेड, द फर्स्ट इट कैन नॉट बी इंक्रीज्ड. And in cut motions, hardly there is cut motions. There is already, let's say, cut debate and discussion. What cut motions will come? So, budgets means budget has two sides, no, expenditure side and income side. Income side does not matter, it will come, accrue, let's say that in financial year. But the expenditure that you have sanctioned, so already government after presenting budget, it has started spending money through vote on account. And so it will estimate, scrutinize the budget estimates which government is spending right now. Not able to understand.
No, sir.
You get money from family monthly basis or yearly basis?
That depends on the condition.
Depends on condition. Right. So the question is then, मान लो parents have given you 6 month expenditure, एक ही बार दे दिया, right? दूसरी बार जब आप मांगोगे तो पूछेंगे ना कि आपने क्या किया है.
Yes, sir.
अरे तो जो स्पेंड किया है उसी का तो हिसाब मांगेगा ना, वो पिछले 6 मंथ का तो मांगेगा नहीं. They will not ask of that, na, the money you have spent, na, that is the ongoing, let's say, aspect. Ongoing कि आपका अभी मान लो 6 महीने का पैसा दिया, 5वां महीना हो गया, आपने फिर से अप्लाई कर दिया. अरे advance sanction. So then they will ask, na, same thing is estimate committee is going to scrutinize the ongoing budget which government is spending.
And the practice is done only on the budget time or throughout the year.
They will do scrutinize throughout the year and keep recommending to the government. One financial year they will scrutinize that budget. Next financial year new budget will come. So then they will scrutinize again that. Now what they will do is that as we have told 10 plus 2 means 10, 12 such scrutiny they do. So suppose they have selected 10, 12 in any one category, let's say that X category, the next time they can go to Y category. In a 5 year, let's say they will complete almost. They will complete entire budget in 5 years. This.
Sir, sir, in recent times, new schemes are allocated to the already existing schemes, like they are clubbed together, but the budget has not been allocated for that, sir. The same way it points
No.
out the surplus
Try
way
to
it
understand.
points out the deficit
Try to understand. Right. That the role of estimates committee is related to what you have estimated in the budget. What you have not estimated in the budget, it does not have business. So whatever the things mentioned in the budget in terms of estimates, its concern is that whether you have estimated by following the canons of economic principle, efficient budgeting system or not. This whether government has clubbed it, it has not clubbed it, it has brought one scheme, it has not brought a scheme, it is not its business. Are you able to understand?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So what is mentioned in budget, they are concerned if you have mentioned this budget, that is the budget estimates, so then whether you have prepared by following efficient management practices or not, that's all. And while doing that, yes, it does have power to question policy also and suggest alternative policy. This uniqueness it has.
In a way, it is also checking the budget maximization tendency.
Yes, so that is how it will curtail. Good that you have remembered budget maximization. So it will curtail budget maximization tendency. Right. This question also we have asked in past. Estimates committee is a tool to minimize budget maximization tendency of government. Right. This.
Sir, but in as it can question the policy of the government, right?
Yes.
But in Sir Lakshmikant, it has been the vice versa. It is said that it cannot question the policy of the government.
Leave
Can we?
Lakshmikant.
No, it was just a confusion.
No, Lakshmikant is wrong. Read the Lok Sabha website estimates committee.
Okay, sir.
पास्ट में भी स्टूडेंट्स ने पूछा है सेम क्वेश्चन. लक्ष्मीकांत. दैट्स वाई लक्ष्मीकांत इज नॉट ए वेरी रिलायबल. मीन्स आजकल तो रिलाई ही करना है, आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है. बट इफ यू रीड genuine source will be the Lok Sabha website on that estimates committee, so it will be mentioned कि it can question policy also. इसलिए कि कई साल से डिबेट हो रहा है. मीन्स आई हैव इंस्टीट्यूशनल मेमोरी लाइक. सो कभी ना कभी इट इन अ ईयर इट हैपेंस कि पीपल टेल कि इट इज लाइक दिस. एनीहाउ, so let's write on this further. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Isn't there any biasness, sir, when chairman is from ruling party?
बायस ने क्या होगा? जब चेयरमैन इज फ्रॉम रूलिंग पार्टी तो वाई ही विल बी बायस्ड? अब ये और बात है कि उसको मिनिस्टर नहीं बनाया होगा, तो गुस्से में होगा तो अलग बात. Try to understand. The question is that try to see that yesterday we were saying that see, after all, we many a time we demean them, but they are also human. They also do good job, right? This you should understand. And they have also their conscience. हमें ऐसा लगता है कि ऐसा नहीं है, but it's not in that way. Behind the curtain, they are very meritorious people. Behind the curtain, they function apolitically. Behind the curtain, they will not have enmity between different political parties and members, because they are also human. ये मीडिया वाले जो है, तो आजकल तो मीडिया वाले हर हेडलाइन में नेगेटिव ही दिखता है. मतलब अनिल कपूर ने मजाक में बोल दिया कि मैं जो आप शादी करोगे, जो कंगना रावत से मैं शादी करूंगा, ऐसे ही मजाक में मतलब डिबेट चल रहा है. मीडिया वालों ने ये न्यूज फैला दिया है कि नाउ ही आल्सो वांट्स टू गिव डिवोर्स. जैसे कुछ लोग हैं कि ऑलरेडी लीग में है सेकेंड मैरिज एंड थर्ड मैरिज. So media wale they write such a negative headline कि you are intrigued to read the news, and once you read it you find. So nowadays I don't get intrigued because they write news, positive news in a negative headline manner. Right. This. And that is how, let's say that ki our perception we are shaping, especially children will be more affected by this, that ki negative aspect. But they have, that's why they are apolitical. You have to accept it ki they are apolitical, right? When they work in the committees, right? That's weaknesses. It is also criticized for being recommendatory, lacking penal powers, and post-mortem in nature. Work is post-mortem in nature. Next, it does not get the expert assistance like Public Account Committee of CAG. Next, it also faces challenges in terms of non-cooperation attitude by the government and administration. and members tenure is 1 year, and lack of adequate support system. Adequate support system. Significance. These are the weaknesses. This is how. So you can, means you can write, since already we have dictated it in public account committee, so I don't want to again dictate in the same fashion. You can write in that formal way. Right. So let's write on this. Right. Even if it is recommendatory, but like public account committee, it has also its own significance. That healthy functioning of parliamentary democracy. Next, promotion of 3 E's in financial administration. 3 E's in financial administration. Next, it can highlight weaknesses in budget estimates. In terms of the actual expenditure and the expenditure which has been sanctioned, and hence find out loopholes in budget making. Next, ARC second has recommended that how in case of budget estimates, 40 ministries and departments show their surplus estimates as savings, which is manifestation of inefficient financial management system. Next, the committee also curtail scope of budget maximization tendency in bureaucracy. The committee also curtails the scope of budget maximization tendency. And therefore, the name of the committee itself indicates that it infuses economic sense in financial system and promote greater transparency and financial accountability of the government. However, it should also be reformed. As mentioned in case of public account committee. Means you will not mention in answer, you can write all the things. And it has also recommended it has also recommended in past economic reforms, financial management reforms, including separation of account from audit, So that is how we can take about estimates committee. Let's take departmental related standing committees. By the name itself, it indicates that they deal with departments of the government. They were created in 1993. 17 such committees, 17 such committees to deal with the affairs of the government. Hence, their creation can be considered as a very significant development in Indian parliamentary democracy. Very significant development in Indian parliamentary democracy. Although the committees were restructured in 2004, and their number was increased from 17 to 24, and composition was also restructured. That now each committee has 31 members, of which I always get this, what we can say, whether it is 10 or 21 or 20 and 11.
So 21 and 10 only.
Right.
21 and 10.
It is Lok Sabha, it is Rajya Sabha. And then there are 24 such committees. In that 24, let's 16 and 8. So, chairperson. So, 16 chairperson from Lok Sabha and 8 chairperson from Rajya Sabha. Yes. So, 24 multiplied by 31, how much? Let's write. The committees due to their number and compositions become substantial in nature. Substantial in nature, that their presence promote First, effective participation of most of the members of parliament. Effective participation of most of the members of parliament. Second, Rajya Sabha also plays a very meaningful role. Rajya Sabha also plays very meaningful role as 8 chairpersons are from Rajya Sabha. 8 chairpersons are from Rajya Sabha. The committees have following role and functions. Following role and functions. First, to scrutinize bills introduced. To scrutinize bills introduced in the parliament. Next, to scrutinize budget. To scrutinize budget when budget is introduced in parliament. Next, to scrutinize any policy matter of ministry department, including annual reports. One committee has in general jurisdiction over 2 to 3 ministry departments. 2 to 3 ministry departments. That is their affairs in parliament. Affairs in parliament. Like say that we have 77 ministry departments and we have 24 such committees. So one committee will represent almost 2 or 3 ministry departments. No. So almost let's say that 2 and 3 ministry department. Now the ministry department, its role is related to parliament is what? Either it is bringing a bill or it is budget is presented, its budget estimates or its annual report or any policy related matter proposal brought in the house. It means that ministry department affairs are closely scrutinized by the committees. This, when it is, let's say, closely scrutinized, so what happens? Let's parliament. Right. Before committees, so suppose it's ministry departments. So distance was long distance in terms of scrutiny. Now you have departmental related standing committees. So they have reduced that distance. It can have more effective control. That way we can see this. And it is substantial in nature. Substantial that they have detailed scrutiny, as we have mentioned also that bills are introduced. So when 3 readings are there, first, second, third, and bills are introduced. So when bills are introduced, so now they are scrutinized at this stage by committee. It will send, and there are 24 members. Sorry, there are 31 members in one such committee, and then scrutinizing the bill. So you can imagine that how there will be greater scrutiny of affairs of the executive. So let's write on that. Working and significance of the committees. Working and significance of the committees. Simply because of their number and composition. simply because of their number and composition. Their role has become very significant as the affairs of the ministry departments are very closely scrutinized, and hence in a way it can be said that through committees Parliament has close and continuous control on executive. Next, it has resulted into greater democratization of parliamentary system and greater democratization of parliamentary system and effective participation of members of parliament. Next, the parliament can have self-insight. About the affairs of executive. They have played very significant role. That is, if anyone wants to know the positives of committees of parliament, if anyone wants to know the significance of committees of parliament, one should scrutinize the working of departmental related standing committees. That how they remain apolitical, and take decision purely on the basis of merit. Many a time they show better perspective than the executive. Some important contributions are: first, one is standing committee. They are also known as a standing committee. Try to understand. So we will refer a standing committee because referring every time name is very difficult. So they are also known as a standing committee, parliamentary standing committees. This you should remember because it becomes a trap. When parliamentary standing committee question mentioned, people start writing public account committee, state committee, estimates committee, all things. Committees are two types, standing and ad hoc. But when a question is saying parliamentary standing committee, it is about departmental related standing committee. So, a standing committee recommended on BT cotton in Maharashtra that how farmers incurred losses, which also influenced the decision of Supreme Court. The committee members visited cotton growing area and they gave their recommendations on the basis of first-hand experience. Next. A standing committee rejected. A standing committee rejected the first draft bill of Lokpal. पहले ऐसे भी होता था. Next. A standing committee simplified GST law and IBC law. They were very complex and had huge number of clauses and sub-clauses. The committees reduced them, their number, and simplified. Next, a standing committee recommended a new architecture for the relationship between Lokpal, CVC and CBI. Most recently, a standing committee recommended flaws in performance appraisal 360 degree.
Can you repeat the last line? Most recently.
A standing committee found flaws in 360 degree appraisal. So already this fact, that fact we write, so that way also you can remember, utilize the existing resources. Right? Means existing memory. This. Already we have also told one standing committee on labor and finding the relevance of joint consultancy mechanism. Now, so many a time you can use the facts, existing facts, to answer another question. This. Let me tell you that these factors, if you see, so you know BT cotton, how it remained controversial, and then the committee's members, they visited, they found, and they recommended. That became basis somehow also. The Supreme Court got influence, and it imposed moratorium on that. So similarly, you will find this called present time, what we can say. If you go in details of IBC, GST law, medical commission bill, there are so many facts, let's say. We have also medical commission bill. In medical commission bill also they recommended suggestions. So there can be several facts related to different types of bills. When you are writing, you cannot write in such manner 4 or 5 points. Rather you mention that their works can be considered as very important, like how they have helped and simplified, improved law related to GST, medical commission bill, IBC, 360 degree appraisal, BT cotton issue. Simply you mention the facts, don't write the sentences. This way we incorporate more content in less space. Otherwise it is literature. Anyhow, so let me share one thing which I have not told, but nowadays I do not dictate, but I tell it. There is a de-anxiety drug. So there was one de-anxiety drug, and that de-anxiety drug, it's 6-7 years back story. So de-anxiety drug was not permissible legally to sell in the Indian market. It is the role of Drug Controller General of India to find out. It's not the role of Departmental Literacy Committee. So maybe it is a departmental related standing committee on pharmaceuticals. So it, let's say that ki found that ki a drug which is in circulation in the market for addressing the people have anxiety, so they can take that drug. That drug is manufactured in Sweden, but there are medical rules, means pharmaceutical rules are that if a drug is manufactured by a particular company but it is banned in that country, so then it cannot be imported and it cannot be sold in a third country. This is a rule. It is banned in entire European countries, not only in Sweden, but it was sold in India. So its recommendation resulted into now Drug Control Journal of India taking action, means coming into action. So a regulator comes into action by recommendation of a committee. This you should know that. Why say we Drug Controller General of India is, it is drugged already. So this Bowser medical medicines etc. already they are banned, but they are sold in the market. You know it better. Doctor know also. So this is what we can say that. Anyhow, so these are some positive works by Departmental Literature Study Committee. But let's write further weaknesses and criticisms. So their general weaknesses are recommendatory in nature, lack penal powers and first, members have 1 year term, lack of adequate budgetary support and expert support, Not all bills are referred to departmental related standing committees. Next point we can write separate. Not all bills are referred to departmental related standing committees. Some recent developments have diminishing effect on role of committees. Diminishing effects on role of departmental related standing committees in terms of first politicization, second bypassing of committees, next the number of sittings of committees, next number of attendance by members, next quality of debate and discussion, change the paragraph, all have declined that due to such developments there are criticisms that Parliament is being treated as rubber stamp. And parliamentary systems are being highly disregarded. Like it has been analyzed by PRS. That the average time taken in passing bills by both houses are between 30 to 40 minutes. 30 to 40 minutes. And percentage of bills passed in the same session has gone to 70%. 70% in 17th Lok Sabha. Even there are highly objectionable developments. In Public Account Committee, departmental related standing committees, that first the members from ruling party did not allow debate on Facebook posts related to promotion of hatred and mismanagement, COVID mismanagement during second wave. In fact, the members of ruling party did not sign their attendance so that there would be lack of quorum and meeting will not be held. And those members who requested for debate, the ruling side members recommended to speaker to take disciplinary action against them. That is, as per PRS reports and other newspaper reports and analysis of functioning of committees, give very disturbing trend that simply debate and discussions are not being allowed. Even in committees, which are considered as apolitical platforms for helping Parliament function effectively. So, this you should know that executive has two faces. One, it shows to public that it is a very good face, it is savior of the people. Another face that it is from the behind, from the curtain, it is murdering the democracy. So that kind of things you'll find. If you read the reports by the various newspapers, including the Indian Express and PRS, which is a non-profit independent organization for research on the activities of Parliament, you'll find that highly disturbing. Those facts we cannot dictate. There are so many facts related to that. Only 16% members attend meeting, only 16% of the time they utilize a question when they want to ask opposition members in the committee, so they are being just gagged. You cannot ask questions. They do not sign on the registry, let's say, so that their attendance is shown, so that there is lack of quorum. And then when you can say Facebook and hatred issue, Facebook, everyone knows that yes, Facebook did not act on the matters those on hatred. So there is no why a particular political party should not allow the debate on that in the committees. Pegasus issue. So on Pegasus, yes, it was Pegasus issue on which this is how the committees, that they blocked other members. They think, there will not be debate at all. And similarly, oxygen, let's say that mismanagement. It is not only related to union government, it's related to entire country, even state governments also. Means it should not be that then why parliament should function if parliament is not supposed to take debate and discussion, because parliament debate discussion will always be directed towards government. This because opposition, let's say parliament will have debate and discussion only in the context of the government, what it does and what it does not. It's not that there will be a third party, the government always be and it always have been, let's say that. So it is always either it is directed towards the government, so whoever the opposition party, they will do that. And if you think that opposition party is just only creating problems, not trying to debate and discuss, so then you were also in opposition one day. And you will also do the same thing once you become in opposition. So having this false perception building in society that opposition party, that is a serious issue in which you have also your hands colored with all those things, right? So it's a serious issue, let's say that, and it's not that you were in opposition, so you had a very noble conduct. The oppositions, and if oppositions are behaving, so that way you should know that. And then let me tell you the fact that what has happened. So this is PRS report, and committees are being bypassed. So it is a good fact which you can continue. Seventeenth Lok Sabha, 16th Lok Sabha, 15th Lok Sabha, 14th Lok Sabha. Percentage of bills. So it is 60%, 21%, 27%, 7%. So in a way we can say executive has started running parliament. This you should know. And then now when executive has started running parliament, so executive has started running parliament, then now judiciary has got a scope to speak. And for the first time it has happened perhaps that Chief Justice of India, present Chief Justice, he spoke. There should be quality of debate and discussion in lawmaking. And he said day to day pondering hona chahiye, day to day. He belongs to a farmer family, so he has courage to speak. So he, by his own, let's say that voice, he has created a positive perception, let's say that. And he has tried to rebuild the lost ground of judiciary by the past Chief Justice of India. Anyhow, so the question is that this will talk, but you may imagine why you cannot constitute the committees. Committees, whether, that's why let's say that whether they are like software less, you can change it, right? So committees were not constituted, and then on the other hand, National Commission to Review the Working of Constitution, it says that each and every bill should be sent to committee. And UK we told that in the beginning itself that it is mandatory, because that's why I emphasized day before yesterday that how it is integral. The first reading, second reading, third reading and committees, they are integral part of the process. You cannot simply, let's say that remove them. Right. That is how it is a disturbing trend. Right. For democratic perspective, we say, from institutional perspective, if we see, and 37 bills were passed without constitution of committees. It is like लो हमने जो करना था 5 साल में कर लिया. बाकी जो, sorry to say I will not speak that Hindi language, but right. So whatever we wanted to do in 5 years, we have passed it. Right. Now you constitute the committees and you do whatever you want to do. Right. So this kind of things you'll find interesting things happening, right? Anyhow, so that's why let's say that if you remember leadership topic, we did not tell Modi ji transformational leader. We told transactional leader. Maybe next time he will be further reformed, because gradually he is moving towards becoming philosopher. Right. So this way, let's say that means घर वापसी उनका भी हो रहा है. So he is becoming more philosopher. So maybe in third tenure he will become transformational. But that is how the scrutiny if you do. So democratic system, a leader is one who respects the democratic system and he takes that democratic system from this level to that level. This you set a standard. See, performance तो कल होगा, परसों होना है, जो होना होगा. Right. But legacy, what the legacy we build? The legacy you build is that about the institutions. These institutions were created and they were built with certain legacy. Now when you break such legacy, so that is how the leader, let's say that is statsman. That's why Atal Bihari Vajpayee is considered the last statsman. Right. This kind of thinking we have, and we have political leaders but not the statsman.
Can the executive bypass this standing committee in case of budget?
No, yes, it can bypass. It can bypass because let's say that if it can bypass in bills, because there are no rules like that, it is mandatory. You don't have rules. Even if you have rules, even rules are also not followed. So nothing can stop executive. That is how you can say that. Once executive is determined, right, it can make and break anything. Right. The only thing is that yes, it is not that determined. Right. So this, otherwise that is how the system is created and checks and balances created. So if Trump did not accept the election in US, what you could have seen the situation. So it could have been worse. For US, so they would be facing lots of challenges in saving their face. Right. If simply he refused, no, I would not accept the decision, then it may result into political crisis. So that is how, let's say that level of war situation is not there, means still you have good leadership and there are checks and balances. That level we should not criticize, but yes, they are the disturbing trends, and that is how we have to understand this. So let's write on this, further summarize.
And sir, it's a prerogative of the speaker to send the bill to the standing committee.
Yes. Basically, House decides, it is not the speaker. It is the House, it is the convention. But then situation reaches to, let's say that that point, then it is the speaker, the person who is having the final authority, the speaker.
As sir, we are having a complete majority in the parliament, so it's not per se that parliament will allow.
No, there was also complete majority in Nehru time also. There was majority, there were speakers, let's say GMC Balyogi, right? So there were a speaker like say GMC Balyogi, he also was a good speaker, right? And the NDA government was there, Vajpayee era time. Right. That is how, let's say, you have to see that. That's why speakers should become unbiased. Once person is appointed as a speaker, that point will come, so we'll talk at that level. So let's write on this. Therefore, the recent trends have resulted into seriously eroding the parliamentary system and practices, so much so that it seems that Parliament is getting belittled. Parliamentary system is getting belittled. And there is executive dominance. Lawmaking without law scrutiny. Has serious consequence on law execution. One can learn from farm bills. And therefore, there are also recommendations to strengthen departmental related standing committees and introduce some criterias like, first, National Commission to review the working of Constitution. Recommended for making it binding to send bills to committees. Second, UK practice has also been suggested. That it is mandatory to send bills to committees. Next, the committees should be considered as integral part of parliamentary process. Integral part of parliamentary process. Rather than treating them like ad hoc committees. Treating them like ad hoc committees. Next. Departmental related standing committees also need to be reformed as mentioned in case of Public Account Committee. Public Account Committee. Next. There is need for creating some more standing committees. Also recommended by National Commission to review the working of Constitution. National Commission to review the working of Constitution. That is, there are several matters which are very important, that they should be scrutinized by committees of Parliament. In today's context, like a committee on regulatory bodies, a committee on public-private partnership projects, a committee on technology related to information communication and artificial intelligence, etc. In fact, parliamentary committees should be taken more as tools of policy discourse. Without their role, there cannot be effective lawmaking and effective control on functioning of executive. And hence the very rationale of responsible government objectives will not be achieved. Democracy is not merely for performance, speed and efficiency. Democracy is not merely for performance, speed and efficiency. It is more for sense of ownership, participation, and belongingness felt by people. And that is how we end it. So further we'll tell. So democracy is not up. Performance का क्या करोगे जब satisfaction नहीं होगा? US क्या करेगा performance का जब when people started climbing to White House? So that's also we have to understand. Anyhow, let's finish here.